Howdy y'all, welcome back to the channel. Hats off to Jared Boosters. Going through Centralia, Washington right now. Now I've come to the conclusion that I'm at the end of my rope. I got no more cash flow coming in. I don't know how I'm going to pay any bills, and I've yet to sail my boat because I kept having motor issues. Now I think I'm down to just having to replace my fuel injectors. That's got to be it, because I've done learned all about diesels, and everything else that I can checks good. The compression's good. My timing seems to be good. All my high pressure fuel pumps are functioning. I do the spill timing on it, and they're close enough that it should be in a completely runnable state, yet it runs like rancid dog shit every time I start it. But I can hear it hit on all the cylinders when I give it a shot of ether and start it. Just boom, and I got all three cylinders, but as soon as it's trying to run, it's like 1.5 cylinders are firing. Is what it seems like. Like blah, 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 and I gotta keep it revved up, but if I try and rev it high, it just fucking, it stops at like not even that, like 2,500 RPM, and don't want to go above that. You can feel it shaking and missing. It's got to be the damn nozzles, my injectors or something. But so what I've learned, I'm trying to get my boat together, which I've named. It's not on the back yet, but I'm gonna name my ship Vimana. I don't think it'll actually fly in the air, but hopefully it'll take me somewhere. And I'm developing a little philosophy about the sea and sailing in general. Now, I'm no experienced long-time sailor or anything like that, but I think that experienced and lifelong sailors would probably agree with my conclusion, that being that the sea is a harsh and cruel mistress, as they say, as the saying goes. The sea will take everything you have and make it into nothing if it so chooses. The sea will take your life in an instant without even, without shedding a tear, if you're not prepared properly. And that may be what the future holds. Who knows? But in light of that, basically, I have to say that if you're going to head out to sea in a small boat that you put together, you're basically risking your life. I mean, you could die, and all of your possessions will just be scattered, distributed amongst your family members or whatever, right? But they won't do you any good because you'll be dead. And I've invested so much time and energy and every dime that I have into this project, and at the age of 56, I'm just unwilling to give it up now. Maybe I'm a fool for continuing forward, but I'm at the end here, and I'm driving the Previa van here. This is the last thing that my mom bought and I did the work on. Before that, it was the trike, which, by the way, we made a profit on of a few $1,000s. The trike was sweet, and it got stolen. I think I'm going to report it stolen when I get back. The guy that bought it from us had it stolen from him a week later before he could even register it. So it's still in her name, and so technically I can report it stolen, and maybe it will come back again, and then I'll try and find Johnny and let him know. If I can't find Johnny, I guess I get to keep it again, but I'm gonna have to sell the van. I mean, the Previa here is in pretty good shape, considering, and they're rather desirable vans. This will give me the funding I need to finish the boat. I mean, one way or another. If it turns out to not be the fuel injectors and just some mystery thing I can't seem to solve, I will buy another motor and put in it at this point. I got fishing poles. I'll get me some crab traps, and and point that bitch south and keep going. You know, there is a land in this world that is not completely owned by the evil cabal. There has to be. It's a big, big world. It's much, much bigger than we think it is. The ocean is much bigger than we think it is. I'm certain of that. Something inside me, and old maps as well. The Urbano Monte from 1587. You know, lands of giants, lands where, you know, birds are flying with elephants hanging out of their beaks, and manticores, as Captain Gunn says, a womanticore. I don't know if Captain Gunn's gonna get a hold of me to be a member of his crew. I think that would be very cool, but considering I have no sailing experience, and you know, maybe that's the key factor. I don't know. There's got to be tens of thousands of people who have offered to fill one of his 11 spots. So the odds of me getting in there are pretty slim. I know allegedly Dave is on there because he's been contacted by the captain, and it's a go, but I haven't heard Dave mention it again for quite a while. I'm kind of wondering if he's heard from the captain again yet. I don't know. But it occurs to me that, you know what? I have a ship. I have a blue water sailing vessel. It's a Camper Nicholson 76, 10,000 pound. It's got a, what is it, a 4,000 pound keel, lead antimony, fixed. And it is one beefy fucking boat. I will say that. I don't know a lot about boats, but I've been on a few sailboats. I have yet to see one of comparable size that has anything near the size of stainless steel, what am I thinking of here? Threaded shaft. You know, it's got 1 inch thick shaft. It's holding the keel on. I mean, and it's not a matrix boat. I thought it was by the way the floorboards look, but it's not. It's not a matrix boat. It's got a solid bottom. The keel attaches to it. When I had it out of the water to do the bottom paint in Ballard, I cut all of the old Sikaflex from between the bottom of the boat and the keel. I cut it out by hand with a bandsaw blade. It took me a couple days of working on it, but I didn't have the funds to stay there for an extra month, or to get the crew at the Ballard boat yard to, you know, put me high enough up in the air to fully drop the keel. But as it turns out, you know, I had enough clearance there to cut the Sikaflex out and then refill it, and then tighten all the nuts back down on my keel, and then I built steel plates to spread the force out on the floor. It had been grounded once before. You know, my boat is a 76 Camper Nicholson 33, which is a race boat. It's an international offshore racer. It was designed by Ron Holland, and the 1975 Fastnet in that class for the 33 foot was won by a boat that's exactly the same as mine. Ron Holland designed 33 foot masthead sloop. And, you know, I've got time, I've got money, I've got blood and skin invested into my boat, and it's never been my dream to sail the ocean. It's not something I ever wanted to do, really. If I had my way, I would live in the mountains, in some place, you know, very wildernessy, with clean water and fresh air. But our piece of shit fucking U.S. military decides that they want to spray us down with poison because they're filled with yes men little bitches that will do anything they're told. You know, there's never been a genocide in the world that wasn't carried out by soldiers just following orders. We're just doing what we're told. My job is to follow orders. You know, military people can sit on that and fucking spin, you retarded fucking fags. You know, anybody that will just defer their authority of morality to their superior officer and then beat their chest and talk about how responsible they are is a fucking loudmouth piece of shit. They are not anything to be fucking admired or envied. Your military's not protecting you in any fucking way. They are the source of all the world's sadness. It's really fucking sad. And I can't deal with it anymore. Life on land is bullshit. Like I was saying, I never wanted to go to sea. I never wanted to be a sailor. I get seasick. I mean, I'm hoping that I'll get over it eventually. But I do. I get seasick a little bit. So I'm going to have to figure out how to get over that. Because, you know, life on land is intolerable. I'm not just going to stay on the land and be poisoned to fucking death, you know, so that my kids can watch me wither away and die, bitching about how fucking crappy this world is. Because this world is a shit show. You know, Schopenhauer has maybe been rubbing off on me. I've been listening to Counsels and Maxims and Studies in Pessimism. I've probably listened to the audiobook of both of those at least 5 or 6 times in full each. And I have to agree with Schopenhauer. Pleasure is a state that cannot last. Nobody lives constantly in a series of pleasures. Life is a burden, a task to be done for a lot of people. You know, and it's really sad that in order to, you know, feel all right about what's happening in your life, you've got to so often look to people that are in a worse state than yourself. I think that is deplorable. I think it's horrible that that has to be the case, but that clearly is the case. There are many times in life you will find your only consolation is to look around, and you don't have to look very far to see somebody who's in a worse condition than you are, who's suffering more than you are. I don't even have to leave the dock to find that, where I'm at up there in Port Orchard. I don't have to go anywhere. I know people that are worse off than me, physically, mentally, emotionally, in their prospects for the future. I do. I know people that are far worse off than I am, and it's sad. And I'm a sentimental person, and you know, you can say that I didn't have enough male influence in my life growing up, but I don't know exactly why. Maybe it's because my mother was such a nice person and it just rubbed off on me to care about people. But I do. I care greatly about my fellow humans. Even people I don't like, I don't want them to be sprayed with poison. I don't want them to have shitty lives. Even if they're fucking assholes and I can't stand their fucking ass, I don't want to see them fucking suffering and sick and diseased and dying thanks to our wonderful government that feels the need to poison everybody in the nation and the world at this point. It disgusts me. And I just can't tolerate it anymore. I have 5 children, actually. I'm supposed to have 8, but 3 of them got cut short there before they were even born, and that's another story. I'm not in favor of abortion, but you know, it happens. I can't do anything for them. I mean the ones that are not with me. I mean the 5 that I have. I can't do anything. I cannot help them in any way. I have no funds. I have no resources. The only thing I can think to do is to present an example of not fucking giving up. And maybe that's a problem for me. Maybe I should learn how to give up on things, because eventually we all have to give up. We're going to 911, 919, 119, 19, COVID 911, COVID 19. We all got a 911 eventually. We have to give up on life in the world, because it's going to end. Our strength is going to ebb away to nothing, and we will be left, well, We will leave, I should say. And so I started thinking about that, and I don't want to sell the van. I really like this van. This is one of the best vehicles I've ever owned. Supercharged all-wheel drive Toyota Previa. It's a great freaking van. It's a great vehicle. It's pulling down, 30 miles a gallon plus on the freeway, and it'll go anywhere. Damn near. I don't think I've ever had the tire spin anywhere. I am practically vertical up at my dad's place, and it don't even kick a rock out from under it. It just climbs to the top. But I'm gonna have to sell it. It's the only thing I have of any significant value. It's the only thing I have that can get me the cash I need to make sure that the boat goes. And when the boat's ready to sail, believe me, as scared as I am of the ocean, and I can't stand life on land. I will not just continue to, struggle against the system that is clearly designed to kill us all. That's all that it wants. All we want is for you to be sick, diseased, and dying for your entire life and never amount to anything. That would be what the child support is doing. I owe child support still for medical care from our fraudulent fucking medical system that was given to the mothers of my children when they were pregnant. And there's no current support obligation. There's not even back support. I've been relieved by the mothers of the arrears that I technically owed. I had $20,000 taken off of it when I was in jail for something I didn't do here a few years ago, which I don't really care to get into. Maybe I'll make a video on that sometime soon, but not right now. But while I was in jail awaiting my trial, which I didn't have to go to because I got a plea bargain and I had to take that because the alternative was to go to trial and in this state possibly lose, even though I'm not guilty. So anyway, I've got to do what I got to do. Like I was saying, the ocean is a cruel mistress. Will take everything you own and make it nothing. I'm coming up on the monument here. This is supposed to be a monument put together and dedicated to the Native Americans. Now, if you can tell me how an arrow on top of a north, south, east, and west compass and some big steel fucking structure, whatever the fuck that is, how that relates to Native Americans, please let me know. Because if I was more Native American, I would have to say, I'm a little bit, supposedly, like everybody is, they say. But if I was a full-blood Native American person, I would be offended at that fucking thing. That is some fucking bullshit. It's just another example of how great our fucking government is. Oh, they're good people, You can totally trust the government. Ask an Indian, they'll tell you how much you can trust the government. Life on land is fucking intolerable. It's a shit show to the fucking max. I'm not in the fucking race with anybody. It never was. I grew up in a very remote, rural, mountainous environment. I spent lots of time just by myself when I was a young child. In my formative years, I spent a lot of time simply out in the nature, playing in the forest, literally playing in the forest. Carson, Washington, Hemlock, Washington, up near the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest. I grew up in the woods. And sure, I'm a Gen Xer, so I am somewhat worldly. I love hot rods. I love working on engines. I like all that cool stuff that people used to do, but it looks like as our society, we're moving away from all that. You will own nothing except a smartphone, and everything you fucking say, do, think, and feel will come to you or leave from you through that phone, apparently. And I'm not cool with that. I'm not cool with being sprayed down with poison. And it doesn't look like it's sprayed out today. It still is. The sky is supposed to be more blue than that. It really is. And I know that because I'm old enough to know that. But young people would never know that. They probably won't believe it. Cowlitz River. You know what? I can't take this place anymore. It just grinds my last nerve every day. You know, if we get a day when the air is clean, I go do stuff, or I mainly do stuff when it rains, because that's the only time the air is clean. No, they can't spray poison when it's actively raining. They could, and sometimes they do to a degree, but when it's been raining for a week straight and it's gonna rain for another week straight, every time the clouds break open, the sky is dark blue and there's not a stripe to be seen. Now, if that was condensation from moisture in the atmosphere from ice crystals that happen to be up at 26,000 plus feet, because that's how high you have to be in the air to produce a contrail from the ice crystals that might be there if the onshore flow is moist enough and has enough velocity to push those ice crystals up into the upper atmosphere. It takes a very specific combination of conditions for there to be a real contrail. So even when you see a plane going by and it looks like it's dissipating behind it, the trail, it's not. It's almost, if there's a real contrail, it is so far up there and it's so short-lived, you'd be lucky if you ever even saw one. What you see are chemtrails. It is poison gas being sprayed on you. Not to prevent global man-made climate change. It's not doing anything except putting some poison in you so that you can get on, so that you can be logged onto by the biodigital convergence. You're breathing antennas. The big breakthrough with the chemtrails came when they discovered how to make nanoparticles of these metals all the same size, and that is the key. That's the key factor, is making them all the same size. Let me turn that off as well. If you were to burn metal and make, nanoparticulate metal gas, what you get is random sizes. You just randomly burn metal, you get all kinds of different sizes in the nanometer range. You get, 5 nanometer, 10 nanometer, 20 nanometer, 15 nanometer, whatever. You get a crapshoot of different sized particles. And that's toxic, and it's poison, and it will harm you if you breathe that shit. Ask a welder. Look at any welder who didn't fucking weld with, breathing apparatus. They don't live long. They end up dying, younger than they should from all kinds of toxic buildup problems. The breakthrough with the chemtrails came when they discovered how to use probably ferromagnetic, waves, kind of like the way they make processors, and they make the levels in the silicone in processors. But when they discovered the secret to making nanoparticles of metal that are all the same size, that's when the breakthrough came. Because metals that are all the same size are called antennas. They're called antennas. Everything is an antenna. Your body is an antenna. Every piece of metal is an antenna. Because there are frequencies and waves of energy going through us all the time. Far more now than there used to be. And, see, this thing runs great. So, there used to be shitloads, or there is shitloads of waves and frequencies going through us right now, all the time. These towers all over, they're not there so that you can get they're helping you, they're making sure you have good 5G service so your phone works, so that you don't get lost, because they care about us. No, they don't give two shits about us. In fact, they fucking hate us. They give us these handy dandy little devices like the one I'm holding right now making this video on, simply to harm you. These are made to harm you. They are harming you. They're harming us all. Yet they're making it so that you won't be able to do anything in the modern world without it. They're going to do away with the money pretty soon. You won't be able to buy anything or sell anything without your phone. Your phone is going to be the payment method, but your phone is also the link between the nanoparticles that you're breathing, that are antennas that fill your body. Billions of antennas inside your body, through your brain, through your spine, through your everything. You will be filled with antennas. And when we think of high frequencies, they just keep going higher and higher with the computer systems. Man, that's a badass 240SX. My son Alex would love to have one of those. So would I. Those are sweet rides. Anyway, you can tell I'm a Gen Xer. 240SX. Yeah. What I'm saying is, we're filled with antennas. We're filled with antennas, and I'm not having it. I'm already sick and diseased from the shit, and I don't like it. It's the source of my Morgellons issues. It's the source of most everybody's sickness, illness, and disorder that they're experiencing nowadays is a result of that, directly. And they'll tell you, oh, you got a lack of minerals. Oh, you're got a poor diet. Oh, it's this, it's that, it's the other thing. No, the fuck it isn't. You're being sprayed the fuck out with nanomedical particles of poison. Poison. That's why you're sick. You're not sick because you don't have enough magnesium. You're sick because you're getting filled with poison. Poisonous metals that harm you. That's why people are sick and diseased and dying in numbers like never before. Isn't that great? Yay for America, we're smart. Let's go spray nanotoxic metal poison on ourselves so we're all dying of cancer. Hey, we can pretend it's something else. We'll pretend we did it to ourselves. Won't that be fun? Yeah, we'll pretend that we're sick and diseased by something we did to ourselves, and then our smart, brave doctors, they're gonna race for a cure, and they're gonna help us to be healthy again. That's what's going on. We'll just pretend that it's not something being done to us, and then all of our problems will be solved. Won't that be wonderful? I'm here at the Toutle River, the Toutle River, because I'm gonna go jump in that water. Because it's hot. And I'm hot. You know what? I totally lost my point. Well, at least the phone's still going, right? I'm reaching my 30-minute mark anyway. So yeah, what I'm saying is, I can't stand this shit show anymore. I'm gonna sail somewhere, hopefully, where it ain't happening. And when that happens, I'll try and... Yeah, it's disconcerting how many shoes and clothes are found here. Yikes. I don't even want to look in there. That was scary. I get the feeling that like serial killers bring their victims here off them. So anyway, yeah, I can't stand this country. It's a fucking shit show and a joke, you know. I used to like it. I used to think America was great because that's what they told us when we were growing up. Like, oh yeah, this is the greatest country ever. See, you know, we're the only country in the world that's free, and we're the only place that you're never gonna have freedom, and yada yada yada. And we're going out to save the world. No, we're going out to poison the world, and it's pretty fucking obvious now that that's the case. By the way, let me mention this real quick. This is where the road used to go. Up there on where those big trees are, there's a large hilltop with perfectly level lots that look like they would have had houses